Hello, everyone. It's me, Joe. I'm back. It's been a while, but I'm back with one of these CML walkthrough videos. And this is one that I've been threatening to do for a while now. And you may notice that there's something a little bit different. This time I have my webcam on. And I need to do that because this video that I've been wanting to do, and I've mentioned it a few times on the webinars we've done, it requires me to show you something that actually exists. So this video, we're going to walk through how CML with a virtual Catalyst 9800 wireless LAN controller can control a physical access point out in the real world and serve real clients connected to that access point. So I've got to show you this. I'll get it down here. My Ethernet cable's not that long, but we are going to connect this 9166 AP to a virtual Catalyst 9800 controller running within CML. And we're going to show you, talk a little bit about what's supported and how that works. And you'll see that the traffic is actually flowing through the AP and flowing through CML, the actual client wireless traffic. So I'll come down here to my network that I've set up here. Very simple. I've created a two-node network. One of them is the external connector. I call it the real world. And the other is our Catalyst 9800. Now, the real world, this external connector is configured fairly specifically. I've got it in bridge mode, and that's really the most important thing here. You can't have it in NAT mode. You have to have it in bridge mode. The bridge I'm using is VLAN 50. So I have a few VLANs at home, one of which is my testing VLAN, and that's VLAN 50. So I've just brought that in, but you could use bridge 0, the default bridge. It just has to be in bridge mode in order to talk to the APs in the physical world. So I've unplugged this AP now because my Ethernet cable is not that long, but I'll plug it back in and I'll pause things so you don't have to wait for it to boot. But let's talk through how I got the 9800 configured. So I'll bring its console up here. Really, it was fairly simple. Once you get it started, the first time you boot it, it's going to only have the VNC console. So just FYI, you'll have to come over here to VNC to do the initial config. But then once it comes up the first time, just reboot it. It's automatically set to the next time it boots, move over to the serial console, which is what we have here. And then you have to give it a few things, mainly. See, look at VLAN 1. I gave it an IP address on VLAN 1. You can see that the default gigabit Ethernet 1 interface, I just left at the default. I'm just using VLAN 1 on the controller side is like an access port in my home's VLAN 50. So I'm not doing any trunking, not doing any VLAN tagging. So it's just fairly straightforward there. I also configured a default route. Here's show IP route. You can see I've got a gateway of last resort pointing out to the real world. So that's all you need to get started. Nope, one more thing. Username. So I created a user admin with a password simple for the demo here. And then I set show run inc IP HTTP. Whoop. Wow. Oh, Joe, you better than that. Look at that. Show running. So I also set authentication to local so that when you log in through the web, you'll log in as that admin user that you create. So now we've done all of the CLI type stuff. The rest of it we can do in the web. So I'll hop over here to my web tab. So this is the controller. You can see right now I don't have any APs configured. But I have configured actually a wireless LAN that should work here once I get an AP in there. So I configured a WLAN or SSID called CML for real because we're doing it for real here. By default, the wizard that you first get when you log into the controller only lets you do WPA2, but this guy does Wi-Fi 6E, which is 6 gigahertz, which requires WPA3. So I made a few security tweaks. I turned on the WPA2, WPA3 transition mode, and in order to do that, I left most of this the default. I turned off fast transition, so I set this to disabled. I marked that I just want a PSK, and I had to turn on SAE, which is required for WPA3. I specified my pre-shared key there, and I was good to go. So that's configured. Now, the other thing I had to do, and I'm not exactly sure why, I went over to tags, and I left as much as the default as possible. And the default policy tag for our SSID here under access policies, it had VLAN 1 all written out, like VLAN 0001. That wasn't working, so I just replaced it with the ID of the VLAN, 1 in this case. So that's how the SSID is associated to the VLAN. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I want to do more advanced wireless things with different VLANs and different SSIDs, and you can absolutely do that in CML. I'm just keeping it simple for this demo. Something else to point out. By default, the node definition for the 9800 that we ship is in what's called ultra low mode. I think I've got the table over here. Ultra low mode, you can see 2 CPUs, 6 gig required. That's what we ship with because this is a lab, right? But ultra low mode doesn't support what's called local switching or centralized switching, meaning you can only have the switching happen on the AP itself. So it drops the traffic locally off of the AP rather than tunneling it back to the controller for centralized switching. That's cool. That works. And certainly you can keep it that way. But if you feel a little saucy and you want to up your CPU count to 4 instead of 2 and 8 gig of RAM, you can do local mode switching, and it will set that by default. But you can turn it on and off. So I've done that. So I went over here, settings on my 9800. You can see that I upped the RAM to 8 gigabytes, and I have 4 CPUs. So when you do that and you boot it, you'll note that the default site tag. So I'll come back over here to tags. Site, and you can see that the default site tag has local mode enabled, and you can create other sites. Actually, I meant to call this flex. I'm not going to show you flex connect mode. It works pretty much the same way. If you leave the AP, or so if you leave the WLC at the default 2 CPUs and 6 gig of RAM, this box will not be checked. You can check it, but then your SSIDs won't work. It looks like it'll be working, but they won't actually be advertised. So by default, with the profile we ship, you're only going to get that Flex Connect or switching off of the AP, so handoff off of the AP. But I wanted to show you a little of what you can do with CML and packet capture, so I bumped the resources up a little bit. Okay. So we got our SSID or WLAN configured. We've got the site all good. We've got the everything configured the way we expect. What's missing now is our client. So what I'm going to be using is my phone here. So I've got iPhone sharing, and I'll show you this. I'm going to plug this AP in. I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to wait for it to boot. I'm going to plug this AP in, come back over here and show you that my iPhone will see the SSID CML for real. It'll join it, and then we'll show you how you can inspect some of that traffic back in CML. So stay tuned. All right, we are back. And you can see here my AP is up. I have an access point listed here. It's called APCML. Funny how that works. It's healthy, so that's a good sign. I noticed something else back on the dashboard. You see here where it says VM template small? That will change. So I'm running with those 4 CPUs and 8 gig of RAM, so I have the small template. Prior to that, it's the ultra low, and it won't do this local, what's called local mode switching. But my AP is up. My SSID is cranking away. Let's see what the phone sees. So again, this is my client right here. It's for real. I'm just using the magic of iPhone mirroring. And there it is, CML for real. I see it. Shows up one of my networks because I've already joined it once. I've already entered the password. So we'll join it here. and this will probably lock up for a few seconds, but I'm back. See if I get an IP. Looks like I did in the VLAN 50 network. Fantastic. Let me go over to first of all, we'll go to this app here. This is my Wi-Fi. It'll show me some specs about me. Looks like I'm on 5 gigahertz. I didn't join at 6, or I haven't moved to 6 yet, on channel 52. So it does now show me that I've got a client active. So I'm connected. You don't necessarily have to trust me yet, but we'll get there. So I'm connected. Let's start generating some traffic. So I'll come over here to this app. Do my ping. And the keyboard went away on me. Let me just temporarily disconnect and start generating some traffic with the keyboard here. Okay. Connect back to the phone. It says it's in use. It's not in use. I just locked it. Okay, we'll start it up again, see what happens. Keeps claiming the phone's in use. Let's see. See if I can connect now. Well, I'll do this manually. You've seen that I've joined the SSID. So what I really want to show you is back here on the CML side. So I'll go ahead and I'll start cranking up that ping again. Here, you could maybe see it there. I'm doing the ping again. Okay, so the ping is running. So I say to you, I postulate that my traffic is going from here. So it's going from my phone to the AP down there, through the local physical switching, through this external connector, the real world, into the controller, and the controller is spitting it right back out on VLAN 50. And that's all through the magic of the CapWAP configured tunnel. So let's take a look and see if that's actually happening. So I will do a packet capture. So I right click on the link, I say packet capture. I'll clear this and I'll do a start. And what we should see is a bunch of traffic, among other things. So we see, first of all, we see some of the CapWAP controls. So this is the control plane traffic. So you can see that this is done over UDP. We have, you could break this down. So if you're interested in what CapWAP looks like, you can be doing that within CML with that physical access point and look at those headers and get an idea of how the CapWAP traffic works. So let's do a few pages here. I'll expand this, drop this, see if we can't see anything here. Wow, filled up quick. Let's see if I can do a filter. Let's do a BPF here, ICMP, apply that. We'll go ahead and start. I just noticed I didn't join, I dropped off of the Wi-Fi network. So it looks like my iPhone mirroring messed things up. So turn the Wi-Fi off, turn it back on again. Oh, my phone's really not happy now. There we go. CML for real, joined it again. And it's running, it's got, okay, so just to show you, my phone dropped off, but it's back on now. If you can see that, it's CML for real still, but unfortunately my ping stopped. So let's clear this again, stop it, start it, waiting for packets. I'm going to come back over here to my thing, start it up again. So here we go. You can see my ping is running there, and it's gone on to page 3 here. So here's the ping. You can see it pinging. So what's happening here? We'll take a look at some of these packets. Stop the ping. We'll take a look here. We have the we have the packets going out, and they are being the packets going out and the packets coming back are being tunneled over being tunneled to the controller, and then they're going back out that same interface. So this is a little redundant. Would you do this in production? Obviously not. And it's one of the reasons, because it does actually put additional load on the controller. It's one of the reasons why that ultra low profile doesn't support it. And probably for your own lab use, you may or may not do this. The CapWap is probably the more interesting thing to see. You probably don't want to see the ping, you'd probably don't want to see the traffic tunneled back, but you do want to see that those control packets and get an understanding of how that CapWap works. But you can see that the traffic is certainly being handled and switched by the controller, and this could allow you to do some interesting use cases in CML by having different parts of your infrastructure virtualized in CML. But this is how it works. It does, in fact, allow you to manage physical APs with real wireless clients using that virtual wireless LAN controller. But stay tuned. That's today. This is with CML 2.9. Coming up in future CML releases, you're going to see a lot more of the wireless world join the CML, join the virtual world. So that's pretty exciting. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll be doing some more episodes around that in the future. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.